I'll touch on it quickly. So we had a unique opportunity today to acquire 3 players to hopefully impact us moving forward as we continue to try to compete with the Twins for the AL Central. Starting with Lucas Giolito, who's been a really effective and durable major league starter for most of his career. And we're excited to have him join our rotation to help stabilize that and provide us some competitive innings moving forward. And then in Matt Moore and Reynaldo Lopez, we feel like we've added 2 arms to our bullpen that will both improve our depth, guys that have experience pitching late in the games and should give Tito and Carl some more options for us to match up as we move forward.
Chris, how quickly did you put together a strategy for these waiver claims once you learned who would be made available by the Angels and the other teams?
We started the discussions right away, Joe, at least the internal discussions. And, as we, there were a number of players on waivers, not just these 3, but in the end, we felt these 3 were the 3 that made the most sense for us. And, we were fortunate to be able to put in claims and be awarded the claims.
Chris, what does this mean for the rotation with Giolito?
We're in the process of working through that, Zach. He'll obviously slot in. We're trying to coordinate travel and when he'll get here and when it makes sense to slide him in. But so we'll have more to come on that probably tomorrow.
Any developments with Gavin Williams or just the rookies in general and what you guys want to do with them?
Nothing new. Gavin did have a good day today, came into the ballpark, was feeling better, got some treatment, but seems to be progressing pretty well. We'll continue to have more information on him each day as we move along. But as of right now, it looks like we've avoided the worst case. So,
Chris, how do you fit these guys on the roster?
So we have to make the immediate moves for the 40-man, which we designated Eric Haas and Peyton Battenfield, and that's how we created the 2 40-man spots. We don't have to make corresponding moves until on the 26-man until they report.
Chris, you called it a unique opportunity. I'm just from your vantage point of when this came down in the last few days. It's obviously unusual for a team to put this many players on waivers and this many experienced players, that sort of thing. Just what was your take on seeing that develop, because it is so unusual?
Yeah, well, these weren't the only 3 guys on waivers. There were other teams that placed players on waivers in similar situations, but we looked at it as an opportunity to improve our team. And it's rare that you have the ability to improve the team during a season, especially with quality players like this, when it doesn't require trading away good players. I mean, I think if you look at the return, a number of these players were traded for a month ago to be able to acquire them for a meaningful amount of cash, but no player capital. I think it was a move that made a lot of sense and one that doesn't happen that often.
Chris, would you have, if you didn't go 4-2 on this last road trip, would you have done this?
No, I'm not sure, Paul. It's hard to deal in hypotheticals. I'm glad we went 4-2 on the road trip and we had this opportunity.
Chris, how hard is it to integrate, especially on the pitching side, guys, this late in the season, and coaches working with them, that sort of thing?
Well, the good news is, especially with Lucas and Reynaldo, we have a lot of familiarity with both guys, having faced them for a number of years within the division. So we'll start that process as quickly as we can. Obviously, we'll look to build on what they've done successfully in the past and try to help them assimilate into our team as quickly and as smoothly as possible.
Chris, I don't mean to sound, well, I'm probably going to sound stupid here, but how does this process work? I mean, it's like these guys just fell in your lap.
Well, the way the process works is, if a player's on waivers, on outright waivers, any team could submit a claim, and the team of all of the teams that submit claims, the only team that's eligible for them is the team with the worst record among that group. So in this case in particular, we submitted claims, and I'm guessing a number of other teams submitted claims on these 3 guys, and we were the team with the worst record, so we were awarded the claim.
Chris, knowing that teams behind you in that order might have also been interested in some of these guys, did that motivate you any more to make any of these claims?
Our primary motivation was trying to improve our team. and find ways to get better. But obviously there's a secondary benefit of, teams that, we're chasing in Minnesota, don't have the opportunity to get these guys. And, hopefully that's a dual benefit for us.
So were you guys surprised you got all three, given you had no idea? I assume you found out at the same time.
Yeah, we didn't really have any idea. If our record was better, our chances of getting them would have been worse. So we had a pretty good understanding of where we were and where we felt in the competitive standings. And, we weren't sure if we'd get 1, 2, or 3 of them, but we're happy we were able to get all 3.
Did you put any claims on anyone you didn't get?
I can't talk about what might have happened otherwise. But you could actually probably piece that together, Paul, and see where players ended up and where they didn't end up. But I'll leave that to your detective work to figure that out.
Yeah, we're in trouble then.
Maybe phone a friend, Paul, if you need help on that one.
So, Chris, this is just like, I mean, it's not like, the August 31st where you could make trades before, when there was 2 trade deadlines, but it's kind of like the same thing, isn't it?
It is. The difference, though, in that case is that the waivers, trade waivers, what were trade waivers in the past, those waivers were revocable. So if a team placed players on waivers, another team claimed them. If the teams couldn't work out player value, the other team could revoke those waivers and choose to keep them. The change now is once players are placed on waivers, if another team submits a claim like we did, you don't have to negotiate a trade. We just get those players for the waiver price. Does that make sense, Paul? I'm happy to explain more offline if you have interest.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Was there any hesitation at taking the remaining salaries of these guys?
Yeah, I give our ownership a ton of credit, and I think it's a consistent theme. Every opportunity that we've had to improve the team, the limitation hasn't been finances. And whether that's this year or years past, we've been really fortunate to have finances available to try to do that. When we haven't made moves, it's mostly been because the player value we would have to give up exceeded what we thought made sense. And in this case, as I said, there was no player value, so it was really financial considerations and then how we could fit them on the roster. And, both of those things made sense. And like I said, I think we are grateful for the support from ownership to try to make this improvement.
Did this being perhaps Tito's last season as manager, did that have any impetus behind these acquisitions?
I mean, we're obviously cognizant of that, Paul, but I think our focus is how do we came off a good road trip, and how do we try to continue to build on that momentum and give ourselves the best chance to compete for the postseason. And like I said before, whether or not that will be good enough and whether or not we can close the gap that's in front of us, we don't know, but we want to try.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the
Thanks,
time.